What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. Big V80. So it's currently Monday, and King of the Strip is on Friday.
Monday evening.
It's Monday night, yeah. And King of the Strip is this Friday at Benarabi. So, just like last year, all the prep's been left to the very last minute. So, before Friday, when we're meant to leave to go to Benarabi for King of the Strip, we intend to do a complete rebuild on this engine, as well as redo the fuel system, as well as some modifications to gearbox, converter dump, change the bull bar.
Change the bull bar over, which means remounting knees, and I have to pull the steering box out and recondition that because it's leaking everywhere.
So just a few things that we've got to do to this thing in the next 4 nights. So yeah, that's fun. Yeah, sweet. Cool.
And redo the oil cooler lines.
Yeah.
That's only a small job, really.
Yeah. Yeah, realistically. So
Go to the rest.
You might have noticed, obviously, we got some Raceworks jumpers on. Raceworks have jumped on board to support the channel, which is awesome. So huge, big thanks to the boys at Raceworks. We've just put in a bit of order for all the things we need to do all of the parts we need to redo the fuel system, redo that oil lines, and do this converter dump that we need to do. So there's heaps of Raceworks stuff that's on the way. So big thank you to Raceworks. Yeah, hopefully we can get this sorted in a timely manner and hopefully even get it onto the dyno for a bit of a checkup before we have to leave. And hopefully not like last year where we were dynoing it until 5 o'clock on Friday night. That would be ideal.
5 o'clock Thursday at the latest.
Yeah, that'd be great, so that we can actually just leave on Friday and mosey our way up to Benarabi like we were meant to last year instead of...
Set up camp in the daylight.
Yeah, set up camp in the daylight. That's the other thing this year. We're not just going to go to like a caravan park. We're actually going to go camp at the track because they do put on a test and tune on the Friday night, which means we'll be able to get some test runs in, test our converter dump and do a few things on the Friday night while we camp there. Be able to get a few test hits in, test our converter dump and everything else before the actual event on the Saturday. So that's the idea. And the idea is obviously doing all this so that it's healthy and we can hunt down that 11-second pass. That's the goal for King of the Strip, is to run an 11 in the shitbox, stock bottom LS1, stock Gen 3 PCM powered, stock 4L80'd, landcruiser, 2.5 ton, 98 fueled, 2.5 ton bread bus. So that's the plan. That's what we're gunning for. We want an 11, and we've put it to Nick Hogg. The last one to 11 is Rotten Egg. So, so let's get it done. Anyway, guys, needless to say, between obviously just really pushing to get this done and ready to go, as well as me not being able to be here nightly as much as Rex, because I've got a child that needs to be, you know, parented.
No, I am a child that needs to be parented. But here we are. I'm not here unsupervised. Like,
I was going to say, so we're just going to leave Rex unsupervised here at night time. But anyway, what I was getting at is a lot of this prep is probably not going to be filmed as in depth as I'd really like to, but we need to get this done. That's just how it is. And because we've got so much customer work on at the moment, we're so busy, it is just going to be pretty much nighttime things. We'll do as much as we can during the day, but we've just got so much other shit to do. So yeah.
I'll cover anything that I feel is particularly important or interesting, but it's, yeah, basically going to have to be concentrating on just getting the shit done.
But basically, like, since this thing was built, this engine's had no maintenance. And as these guys know, it's been using water, it's leaking oil. It just needs to be, it needs a birthday.
It had a big end bearing issue straight off the bat.
Yeah. So yeah, it just needs a birthday, and it's taken us this long to frickin' do it, and it's the week of King of the Strip, which is not what we wanted, but it's what happened. So we're dealing with it. All right, guys. Big V80 heartbeat is out. Hey, look at this old girl.
Yeah, it's a lot easier with this lifting plate.
Yeah.
Like all that extra height you gain.
Look at all the oil.
It's literally, it's everywhere.
It's just everywhere. It's leaking out of here. It's all over this side. It's all up here from that. I bet it's leaking out of that belt probably up there. So all in the bell housing, all over the back of the engine. There's just oil everywhere.
It's pretty gross.
Oil everywhere.
Insane.
It's got old style backing plate, so we'll put a new one on this thing. Yeah, but there's just oil all over the place. And sand. This disgusting 4B. Yep. That's how she be. And there's the big secret weapon to this thing's being a beast. It's the big old 4L80 diesel converter. Mod stock. Even the engine mounts are pretty cooked. Like, yeah. Yep.
Look at the fucking sand.
We also sort of didn't even think about the fact until this morning, is that we don't actually have any new GM main bolts or rod bolts in stock ready to go, and we're not going to have any in time. So just like the Utes latest tossed together engine, this one behind us is just going to get reused torque to yield main bolts and rod bolts and sender. So anyway, like we always say, guys, this is the beauty of doing our own stuff, where it's only us that are going to deal with the consequences. So, you know, we can reuse stuff and slap stuff together, and obviously not the right way, not the correct way, and not what we do for customer stuff, but
see that sort of shit?
yeah,
That's why.
down.
That's why I want to redo this fuel system.
Yeah, that is just a fire hazard.
That's what I mean. I can't believe this thing's never caught fire yet. It's pretty unreal. Anyway, all this is going.
Yeah, so like I said, guys, huge big thanks to Raceworks for jumping on board to support the channel. It's been a huge help. They sent us.
We could not afford to.
Yeah, we couldn't have actually done all this without their support. We just didn't have the budget to get all this done without their support. So huge big thanks to them. Yeah, they sent us heaps of cool stuff, heaps of updated tools. I haven't even had a chance to actually go through them. Like big AN spanner sets, pressure tester kits for lines. We've got all sorts of stickers which are going to end up all over this for King of the Strip, obviously, to rep our boys. Yeah, hose tools, boost leak tools, tube straightening tools. There's just, yeah, thread tools, yeah, just, they sent us so much stuff. It's overwhelmingly, you know, appreciated, that support. So yeah, we're absolutely stoked with it. So huge big thank you to them. We'll try and get all this done, like I talked about, among a lot of an array of other things that have to happen this week as well. So it's yeah. Whew. Righto, guys, getting into the teardown, finding a few interesting things. But firstly, have a look at this. Like we were talking about, Raceworks been helping us out. Awesome stuff. Now we hit them up yesterday. Literally yesterday afternoon, like, hey, we need this stuff to get this cruiser done this week, all new fuel system and everything else. And check this out, already rocked up. It was, yeah, probably not even 24 hours ago.
Some of it anyway.
So yeah, really cool. So huge big thanks to them. Yeah, like I said, can't thank him enough for the support. It's gonna help us a lot in a big way. So Rex has found what he believes may have been a head gasket issue on number 8. Which may have explained why this thing was using water, because the oil came out clean. There was no water in the oil, so you know, if it was using water, it was just burning it pretty much.
You can just see, this is number 8. You can just see how the rust here is acting like a dye for us to trace what's fucking going on. But you can see how close, like it's coming all the way up to the seal around the chamber.
Yep.
It's been going between these ports, because if you look at, that's the equivalent on the other side.
Yeah, where there's a clear line where it's
clean.
It's sealed from the cylinder.
Though it's sort of had some stuff, but yeah, you can see that line.
Yeah, it's been
whereas
sealed
this
from the
one's
cylinder. Yeah.
And the chamber on number 8 does look a bit wet. It's hard to tell because I forgot to plug the spark plug holes when I washed it before, so they all had a bit of water in them. But
yep,
you can see the difference in that chamber compared to all the others. It's got this sort of sheen on it. So anyway, I think that's what it is. I had a quick look at, because it's been hot. I'll have to wait till I clean these up a bit, but I can't see any cracks.
yeah, just make sure they're not cracked between the inserts.
I can't see any cracks in between inserts.
Because we did have this thing at like 140 degrees coming up the range one day, towing a car. I can't remember what car it was.
The Cressida.
The Cressida, yeah. So yeah, this thing's been hot, like 140 degrees plus hot.
And more than once too.
Yeah, a few
It's
times.
been that hot on the beach a couple of times as well.
So anyway, you would think that we should probably deck the block, deck the heads, but we're not going to. I'm surprised that Rex isn't just going to hire them all these gaskets and put them back on, to be honest.
I've already done that one before. These are already second hand.
We've only got one new pair left, so
Yeah, right.
get it right the first time.
Yeah, no, that's it. We don't have time to fuck it up.
Yeah, well, that's it. We've got to get it right the first time.
If it's not right the first time, we're not going.
Anyway, so we're going to keep going down. Yeah, a lot of things we don't have. We don't even have a new timing set, though. This timing set's not really that old, so Shouldn't be too bad. Rex is debating whether to reuse these lifters or not. They're not the original lifters from this engine. We did replace these lifters because we were chasing a noise. So they've only done about 20,000 Ks, the LS7 lifters. So
they all
look good.
There's only one or two that have just a little bit of a mark on the wheel, but other than that, the others all look perfect. So
it's the same cam going back in. They look good. None of them make any noise, so we'll probably just put them back in, to be honest. The other thing is, this engine was put together before we started using CHE trunnion kits. So this one just has one of the generic white box trunnions, and a couple of them Rex have found have quite a bit of movement and wear.
It's probably hard to see on the camera, but there's
a fair bit of movement.
That's quite a bit of movement, and it's much more than the others. So I'm going to take that out. Actually, I'll do that now.
So a lot of you who watch the channel from back, sort of when we sort of made the change to CHE, it's the same principle. The part is the same principle where it's a brass bush and a solid trunnion and there's no needles. But instead of having pressed in brass bushes, the CHE is full floating, and the oiling system for the CHE is much, much better. And the fact that it's full floating allows the brass bush to actually move around during operation, which means you're not always loading up the same part of the bush, whereas these ones, the generic white box trunnion kits, as good as they are, they're still a lot better than stock trunnions. But because they're press-in, you always load it up on the same part of the bush. So we could always see that was going to be a problem with premature wear. Even when we were installing these, we're always telling people that, probably every 12 months you'd want to replace them, whereas the CHEs tend to be lasting a lot better. So these have been in this for 4 years. And yeah, you can see some of them, they're just a bit worn. There's a bit much movement. So we probably will just put a CHE kit through this thing. It's money we didn't really want to spend on it, but it's, yeah, put the CHE kit in it and then it's done. We don't have to worry about it after that. So that'll probably happen. So you can see here what we were talking about, that wear on that bush. Hopefully this camera's picking it up.
That's from that center groove there, as Max was saying, because that bush just sits in there, and you've got the spring on one side and then the lifter on the other. It's just always loading that one point in the bottom half of that bush, and it's worn it out. There's no way to try and encourage oil to get in there. It's just relying on it coming out of the push rod, sitting in the top here and just trying to find its way through. But when that's always loaded, pretty hard for oil to...
Yeah, it's pretty much always actually contacting. I don't think there's ever really a film in there.
Yeah, so that's why. That's yet another reason the CHE's got the oil grooves through it, and yeah, just much nicer.
So there are a couple of cars that we have built in the early days, which we still have to get back and replace them. So we do need to make an effort to get those things back here and replace a couple of trunnion kits. But hey, it is what it is. I'll show you what I mean with the difference with the CHE kits, and this is why they are so much better. And this is why we don't even sell the generic white box trunnions anymore. Like I said, they are still better than needle rollers. I'd still rather them in my engine than needle roller trunnions, but I'll show you how much better the CHE kits are. So here we go, the holy grail of trunnion kits. Just for your education, guys. So you can see the actual trunnions here, the oil grooves, which are actually driving oil out into the bush. And then the bushes, instead of pressing into the actual rocker arms, they float. And they also, on the top end, have the same sort of grooves which help work oil out into between the actual bush and the trunnion arm. So like I said, having that floating, allowing that to sort of move around, constantly rotating during operation, it stops you always loading the same point. Plus obviously much better oiling system, allows for a full film of oil around, which helps these they just last so much better. So that's why these are the best in the business. And I know a lot of people do like shaft rockers and stuff like that. There are a lot of good companies out there that make really good needle roller shaft rockers. We've just never had or found the need for them. Not only that, but even putting aftermarket needles into your rocker arms, if you don't get them perfectly aligned, it can cause issues. And there's not really any way to perfectly align them when you install them. It's always just a bit of a gamble, and that's why we like the bronze bush version better than any sort of aftermarket needle roller kit. So anyway, we digress. It's just a little shout out to CHE and how good they are as a training kit, but yeah, we'll just chuck one in this thing and be done with it. Rightio guys, so it's Tuesday night. As you can see, Rex has got this thing pulled down to a bare block. Managed to get a fair bit done today, which is a good sort of leap forward.
Fucking cleaning, just cleaning.
So the heads, we've sort of decided that we'll clean up the chambers and just check them for cracks between the inserts like we talked about, but as long as there's no cracks between the inserts, we're just going to leave them assembled, which is going to save heaps of time. Didn't have any issues with smoke or blowing oil or anything like that, so we have no reason to believe that the valve stem seals are even a problem or there's anything wrong with them. So just leaving the heads assembled saves heaps of time. Re-bearing, re-ring, quick hone with the drill. We should be pretty right. As far as pulling it down, all the rods appear to be straight, all the pistons appear to be intact, all the bearings appear to be pretty good. Crank, there's a couple of little marks. The mains, a couple of mains were pretty unhappy, but I mean, quick cleanup, fresh bearings, that's all this thing's really gonna get. Yeah, the main thing was obviously all the new gaskets and stuff to put it back together so that it doesn't freaking leak was the main big thing. So 6 o'clock, so I'm going home, and Rex will come back tonight. The other thing that we know is going to be issues with this thing is the engine mounts. So you know, for a long time it's just been, we've been getting away with them rubber mounts. For those of you who watched the original build or know the car, you know that Rex modified a shock to be like a bit of a brace for the pull side of the engine, so it didn't keep tearing the mount up. But we do have these tough mounts. I've had these in the container for years. The only problem is they're a little bit too tall for what this thing had in it, which means that probably the engine brackets would have to be remade. So we're just sort of waiting to see whether we have time to do that and put those mounts in, because it would be good. With those mounts in, we wouldn't have to worry about that tension rod to save that engine mount, which it is, honestly, it's sort of in the way. So it'd be good to be able to sort of just eliminate that from the whole setup. So that's the plan, but it just depends what we have time for. Like it's already Tuesday, we've got to leave on Friday. So, and like we talked about, there's a lot to do. So anyway, it's all systems go, guys. We're fanging it. Rightio, guys. It's Wednesday, about lunchtime. Rex was here last night. Sort of just finished cleaning everything up. Here making some new fuel lines. This is a tube straightener that Raceworks sent us.
How good is that? I've obviously already straightened that bit, but watch this.
How much nicer is it than trying to like straighten it with hands?
Yeah, and then you get kinks in it, stuff like.
Just run it through.
Look at that.
And she's just straight. How bloody awesome.
That is so neat. How legit are we now? Sure, we've got some cred.
No cred.
How many backyard operators have this sort of gear, mate? Got the straighteners, we got benders, we got everything.
So, a lot of you guys know that watch the channel. We're sort of just, I don't know, in the recent sort of 8 months or so, just really become obsessed with just doing everything out of hardline. It's so nice. You don't have to worry about heat. You don't have to worry about melting. You don't have to worry about rubbing.
It's just the way to go.
And it's so cheap as well. Like it's a lot cheaper than doing PTFE. So we've been sort of just trying to do hardline as much as we can. We really, really like it. So needless to say, this has been a really, really awesome addition to the till stable, because we didn't have one before. And like I was saying, trying to straighten out such a long piece, just like with your hands, it's nowhere near as nice as just being able to run it through that and get that.
I really like it.
Really nice.
That with legitness.
Oh, just look at it. Look at the new lines. Oh.
Put a horn on a jellyfish, that would. Have a look at it. Isn't it beautiful? It's a shame that it's all mostly hidden and no one ever sees it. But we'll know. We'll know it's there. How much better is that going to be?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Way less fire hazardous.
Yep.
Hup, hup.
We'll keep our number of fires at 0, where it currently is.
Bo's cleaning up all the pistons, pistolas. So between everything, Rex cleaned up last night, and then Bo cleaning pistons today. I think tonight Rex should be right to pretty much start getting the engine together. Got another one of our mates, Luke, here. So Luke's here to help make some new engine brackets for the tough mounts, for the engine mounts. So yeah, Luke's going to be doing that tonight while Rex hopefully putting the engine together. Yeah, so it's all systems go trying to get this thing to this event. What do you reckon, buddy? So I've got the old crack block out of the yellow ute here. So going to use that for a dummy block, chuck it in the cruiser so that Luke can be working on the engine mounts where Rex is putting the actual engine together. Yeah, big week. New mounts.
I'm hoping that with those in there, I can do away with that brace.
Yeah, that's what I said to the camera before.
Yeah, because it's really in the way over there of that front plug and some other bits. So if I can leave that out, man, it's going to be just a lot nicer over that side. So yeah, we can.
New fuel lines up there.
Yep, ready to go. We've made a little mount and stuff for that. I'm just so happy about this fuel line situation being sorted out. Really.
Whole new fuel system.
Oh yeah, it's just going to be so much better.
So once we run our 11 with our bloody Gen 3 PCM, stock Gen 3 bottom end, then we can start looking at rewiring this damn thing.
Yeah, that's the next thing.
That'll be the next thing, is all new wiring. But anyway.
No motor.
Not now. Alright, so another thing that this thing has been missing forever.
Oh. Yeah, how good.
So we're just having a conversation while everything was going on. Like, we're going to take the roof bar off before we even leave. We're not even going to take it with us this time. So roof bar will go. Put the spare in the back.
In the back of it? Oh, how good does that look? Looks wicked.
Stoked to manage to get the big stickers on without any air bubbles or anything. Normally I'm a full Gumby when it comes to that. So just use the wet method. Looks wicked. So the other side looks better because it's a bit more even, just the way the layout is. But
yeah, stoked. How good.
Anyway, so yeah, with the roof cage gone, like we've already talked about, steel bar's going. The worn high mount is going because it doesn't even work because it's not hooked up to anything since we moved the battery to the back of the car. And we're putting the alley bar back on. So, you know, these worn high mount winches, that's got to be probably nearly 60 kilo. By the time you replace the steel bar with the alley bar, that's another big saving. That roof cage as well. We worked out, it'd be, what do we work out? About 140 kilo.
So you worked out?
I'd say we'll probably get 100 kilo out of it.
100 kilo out of it, yeah.
The winch, the bar, and that tank gone.
Oh, that was the other thing. Those of you who remember the original build, when we originally built it, Rex built this auxiliary water tank, which used to sit underneath the radiator, which used to expand, well, it expanded the cooling capacity of the system, an extra sort of 8 to 12 litres or something like that, which was awesome at keeping the thing cool, but it was just made out of just mild steel, and it has rusted over time. So it is sort of getting to the point where it's going to be almost leaking. So Rex is ditching that as well. So that's another sort of at least 12 kilo out. So a fair bit of weight saving. We worked out it's nearly 200 pounds that we'll be saving, which in drag racing terms is quite a bit of a weight cut. So, you know, even just based on the weight saving and the horsepower and the times we ran last year, it should be able to do an 11 just based on that, and that's not even taking into account the modifications we plan on doing to the converter system for the converter dump and potentially the spool button. Not sure about the spool button yet after what we had to go through with the ute, but either way, even if we don't use a spool button and just do the converter dump, we should still be able to get this thing to 60 foot a lot faster than we did last year. So between way faster 60 foot and the weight savings, we should definitely, hopefully, get that 11, which would be really cool just for the fact that it is a stock Gen 3 bottom end LS1, stock Gen 3 PCM, stock 4L80, stock landcruiser transfer case, stock landcruiser diffs. The only modification to the actual landcruiser driveline from the 4L80 back to the diffs and stuff is that the rear diff has an auto locker in it. Apart from that, completely stock 80 series diff, completely stock 80 series axle studs even. So they're not even the upgraded 105 ones or anything. We do have a set of ARP 80 series axle studs to replace them. We just have never had to. So they've never been replaced. So, you know, for everyone that sort of ragged on about this thing while we were building it, has always ragged on about 80 series diffs and how we were just never going to last and they were going to explode and everything, and it's still here and potentially going to run an 11 this weekend on just stock 80 series driveline. So that's what's really cool about it. That's why we really want that number, just because of what a simple setup it is. So righto guys,
Went a bit nuts with the stickers. Yeah, just looks awesome. Anyway, got our boys up on the windscreen. Big ups to Raceworks.
and yeah, redid sort of all the back windows, tried to include all the boys that have helped us out over the years. Shout out Fat Lip, shout out to Ben Brothers, shout out to Farrow Shafting. They're in Nambour, always helped us out for a long time. Kept some of the antiques, redid a lot of the back. Yeah, same thing. CHE, shout out CHE, Fish and Drifts, shout out to them boys. Obviously got to rep ourselves. Shout out to Brisbane Fuel Injection. And yeah, same thing. Ben Brothers, Oz Welding Supplies, Pro Cams, obviously. Big shout out to all them guys. So, yeehaw. Shout out to Demeritless as well. Still kicking. I've still got some more. I've got heaps of Demeritless stickers out there actually. I should probably, anyway, that's right. Plenty enough stickers. That's enough stickers for today.
Anyway, she's all sticked up, looking fast.
See if we can run an 11. Too heavy now. Weight it down with all them stickers. So Rex is busy gapping rings, getting this all together. Luke's over there, getting engine mounts sorted. Yeah, all systems go. Righto guys, we're back after dinner, putting the young fella down, etc. Late night.
Luke's engine mounts are looking minty, looking awesome. So, really looking wicked. Impressive. Not sure if I showed you guys this earlier as well, but we got the rest of our goodies from Raceworks to finish this fuel system off, do all the redo all the turbo drain lines and everything else. It's getting a new Raceworks fuel pressure reg as well. All Raceworks everything.
Just going off like the, you know, lining this plate up at the front of this, and given it the fact that the transfer case is now, you know, it's got its.
So Rex has been working on getting this engine together, all the clearances and everything. Ended up swapping out
One of the rods. So this thing did have an issue when we first built it with it. It did spin a rod bearing, which was an assembly issue. That was way back when. So, but that rod that did spin a bearing, it wasn't right. So Rex chose, well, actually he didn't really choose. It was the last Gen 3 rod and piston that we had in the back room. But it came up mint, clearances are good, which means it's going in and it's getting sent. So yeah, this crank's actually really good. The variation between the mains is SFA. It's actually this whole engine's really good considering it's done 400,000 plus Ks.
You just don't see it.
You just don't
like,
see it.
In this stock bottom LS1 stuff, like they're never this good.
Yeah. So this is just
weirdly a huge high Ks engine, which is just really good. So
yeah. Must have been sort of well looked after and stuff, but it just makes me so adamant that I don't want to push this engine.
Don't want to break it.
I don't want to break this engine because once we break it once, it will never be the same again.
Yeah.
Whereas this is such a good motor.
As far as keeping it a stock bottom N57, it needs to stay. It needs to stay like this.
Yeah.
So
I think we stick with our plan, which is we
converted dump.
Run our 11 with the converted dump. I'm not putting that fucking IoT anywhere near it because I'm not even just willing not doing it.
Do you mean the spool button?
The spool button, like that IoT button.
Yeah.
Not doing that. Converted dump. We run our 11, do what we have to do, and then just I don't want to make any more power out of it.
Just leave it alone after that.
It's either we break
it'll
this,
still be the 11-second tow car. So.
Yeah, it's either we break this or we start breaking stuff in that. So just keep it alive as it has been. I can't believe how good this is considering how much torture I have put this into.
Yeah, this thing has been so hot so many times.
Like,
run pretty much dry of oil,
It's only a 2-bar map, so it can only read up to 16 psi, and I've had this thing at like 20 pound on the beach, over 125 degrees, and just been so pissed off that I was like, fuck you, piece of shit. Foot to the floor, just 20 pound. I was like, and it is. That's the reason that the bearings showed that sign of detonation, but that was from those times. It's not because of all the times it was happy. So it's amazing that it's in such good condition, to be honest.
Like we talked about, it probably will end up still being rewired, just because.
100%.
Just basically for reliability, more so than anything else. The wiring job on that thing is not that great. We know a lot more about wiring now than we did back then.
So I look at that wiring now, I'm like.
Yeah, so just for the sake of it being nicer and a bit more reliable, it'll probably get rewired. But apart from that, like Rex was saying, we'll run our 11. That's pretty much, we'll leave this thing alone. Give it a break.
Got other shit we can break.
Yeah, we've got other stuff we can have fun with. But you know, if we can get it consistently in the 11s, which would be sick, we'll just keep doing King of the Strip every year and just keep going. One of the other things I really want to look at this year as well, because I didn't pay really enough attention last year, but I'm pretty sure that we were the fastest car there that was on ATs. There were a lot of other really fast 4Bs there, obviously, in our class and other classes, but a lot of them were running slicks by the end of the night to run the times they were running. Whereas I'm not sure, I think there might have been some people in the diesel class that might have been running quicker times than us on ATs, but as far as petrol, unlimited, in that class, I'm pretty sure we were the fastest on AT, so I want to pay close attention to that this year, because that would be another pretty cool little thing to have to its name, the big old bread bus cruiser. Anyway, we've still got a lot to do, and we intend to be leaving in like 30 hours, so.
I don't know if we can. We'll just, it won't be running. Because that banjo fitting and stuff that I ordered this morning is for the fuel system.
Yeah. It should be here tomorrow though.
Maybe that's why I tried to order it. I ordered it first thing this morning as soon as I realised I needed it.
Yeah.
That's why I started on the fuel system, because I was like, I need to check all this crap. So maybe
Yeah.
it gets here tomorrow. I'm hoping it does, because then we might be all right. But otherwise, it should be here Friday. And I may just have to do late. Same as last year, just leave late Friday.
Leave late Friday. We'll see how we go. Anyway, I'll start getting seals and stuff in covers and getting what I can done to help this thing along. Luke's painting up his engine mounts. They come out bloody brilliant. Looking awesome. So that's that sorted. So with those tough mounts, that thing gone, saves us heaps of room. Engine's pretty much getting there. So I got the heads on both heads, the short bolts on the the center on the outsides. Not good at all. So Rex only managed to get these ones done up, not even a 50 foot-pound out of what they're meant to be is 80. It just felt not right, like they were pulling the threads out of the block. So
It felt fucked.
yeah, was not nice. So that's sort of not ideal. So hopefully they sort of stay down. But hey, what do you do? It is what it is. Anyway, apart from that, we're all pretty much together. As you can see, CHE trunnion upgrade. Bo did that this morning. So CHE trunnions now. But yeah, engine's going together. It's currently just before 1 AM on Thursday morning, which means we are meant to be leaving tomorrow. So. Rex has got all like sad and reckons we're not going to make it on Friday. Not going to leave in time.
We're not going to leave early, I don't think. We'll see.
We'll see how we go.
Like I said, it's just waiting on those fittings.
Yeah, that's right.
But
Fuel system fittings.
There's still so much that I have to do tomorrow to, like, it's, yeah. Anyway.
Well, give it our best. Rightio guys, so it's now about 2 in the afternoon on Thursday. It's been a very frustrating day all round, just trying to make progress. But bar and winch are off. I really wish we had a scale to hang this off because it's freaking heavy, really heavy. We've got an alley bar here which is going on, so starting to sort out these coolers, get them sorted in a way that we can get the alley bar on, get it all back together. Yeah, shed a heap of weight out of that. So Rex sorted out the wiring that he needed to sort out as well. Just focused on what we really needed to sort out. There's still a lot of wiring that we would like to fix, that Rex would like to redo, but we just don't have time to go too deep into it at the moment. And while that's been going on, Bo's been rebuilding the power steering box. So big old power steering box rebuild. Hopefully keep this thing in a straight line at full track when Rex is doing bloody Mac Jesus on floating with the steering wheel not connected to anything. Yeah. And while them boys have been doing that, I've been trying to get this engine finished off together. I managed to get obviously a fair bit done this morning, but after that, it's just one of those really frustrating days where there was just heaps of other stuff continuously having to deal with other people, other stuff, trying to get other stuff done, and then book work, and yeah, anyway, just a pain. Painfully frustrating. But anyway, from what I can tell now at 2:20 should be right to just dive back into this now, and I don't think I have any other things I need to sort out for the rest of the day, so get this thing freaking buttoned up. Alrighty, cruising along. Rex is real worried about the heads on this thing. Real worried about whether they're going to stay down or not.
Yeah, because if we get on the dyno and it starts lifting the heads and pushing coolant out, this was all a waste of time.
So Rex has sort of come up with a solution for this bar and coolers. So his plan is to pretty much mount the coolers in the center. So both of them lined up in the center, underneath the intercooler essentially. Woo, look at that. Like it grew there. Old school.
My measurement's pretty good.
Oh yeah, it looks pretty damn good. It's a nice cut. Like I bought one.
Yeah, just gotta weld up what's left of that crack over there.
So big thanks to our boy Darcy who dropped off a intact grill that's not been cut out for a winch. So we've got ourselves like a nice grill to go in behind this bar and everything. So it's all gonna look real schmicko. It's gonna be flash. Real flash. So another real frustrating thing that happened today is we've been talking about this whole converter dump situation to try and get this thing to 60 foot a bit faster. Unfortunately, Rex checked today because we were like, well, where are these fittings we've been waiting on? Turns out they were never actually ordered. The order was never actually finished. They were still just sitting in the cart from our supplier.
Yeah, my fault, not the supplier or anything.
Ah, you dumbass.
So anyway, that was obviously a very frustrating thing for Rex to figure out. So we've been calling around. I've been asking some of the boys that are from up that way though. Obviously with King of the Strip guys, I really do recommend you come along and come and be there, because it really is such a great weekend, and the community around it is really, really cool and really tight. We've made a lot of, just from last year, you know, we made a lot of good connections and good friends that we talk to fairly often still on Instagram and stuff like that. So I've been talking to a few of the boys that are from up that way about where the best place to try and get some of these fittings that we need to do this converter dump, so that we can maybe try and line some up for when we get there or something, so that we can sort it out while we're at the track, because we really sort of need something like that to get this thing to 60 foot faster and get that 11. So the problem is though, the fittings that we need to do it are very, very weird sizing, like 3/4 BSPT, 2 AN10 is what we need, which is just a really strange size. So we did manage to get on to someone pretty local to us that reckons they can probably do it. And our boy Darcy, after he dropped the grill off, he's taken the dump valve with him, and he's gone to this place to try and sort out the fittings. So can't thank him enough for helping us out doing that. And then hopefully that works out and we'll be right. But if not, some of the other boys that go to this event, they've been helping us out a lot with putting us onto the right people from up that way, that we might be able to get fittings while we're up there. So we're trying to make this happen. Yeah, we're trying our best.
Doing everything we can. Every bloody thing we can. All right, guys, this is where we're at. Getting pretty close to getting it in.
Bo's still here. He doesn't really have to be, so huge big thanks to Bo. It is 5:45 on Thursday night. So Rex is really, really worried about this thing as far as the heads actually staying down after what happened last night with those head bolts. So there is a lot of genuine concern about whether this is even going to, you know, work. So basically where we're at with it at the moment is Rex just wants to get this engine in, basically do just the bare minimum, what we absolutely have to get this thing dyno ready, so that it's pretty much ready for the dyno in the morning. So that'll pretty much be the goal for tonight, is to hopefully have it pretty much ready in the morning to hit the dyno. So that we can just get it on the dyno and test it. Just make sure these heads are going to stay down, because if it's just going to lift the heads straight away, it's all a waste of time, really. So you know, there's no point in going through all this effort, doing everything properly, only to chuck it on the dyno and have it lift the heads straight away. The whole thing's a pointless exercise. So it would be a real shame if that were to happen, and all of this effort has been for nothing. You know, all of this effort, even back to busting us to get the yellow ute rebuilt in time so that we could get this thing rebuilt, and all of this effort that's gone into getting this rebuilt. It would be a real shame if that were the case. So there is another option. We do have another engine that we can use. We don't really want to use it, but it would be better than not going after all this effort. So basically, if we get this on the dyno tomorrow and it's going to lift the heads, we do have options to get another engine in this thing. It's not Gen 3, it's Gen 4. So it's not the same. It's not going to be the same accolades as if we run an 11 and get this all together and run an 11, but it's still going to be better to go and have some fun and actually go to the event than to not go after all this effort. So that's going to be the plan. It would mean tomorrow's going to be a very long day still, if it goes that way, but you know, it might end up being similar to last year, where, you know, we might spend all Friday busting us getting this other engine in there, and only end up going up on the Saturday or something just for the event. It's better than just not going after all this effort. So
Rightio, guys. Engine's in. Luke's mounts that he made worked out bloody brilliant.
Absolutely perfect.
Rex really wanted to like just move the engine a few different directions, and Luke nailed it.
Mostly just towards the driver's side, just to get the manifold away from that shock tower just a bit, because it's really close on this side compared to that one.
Yeah.
And I did find if you have a look at the manifold, there's a tiny little rub mark where it has been just touching.
Yeah, okay.
Well, having said that, that was probably the old mounts letting it move around, so
yeah,
it probably won't do it with these, but still, it's nicer just to move it across a little bit and have a bit of space. Give me space.
So yeah, because Rex deleted the auxiliary tank that used to mount underneath the radiator and stuff like that, got to have to make a new bottom rad hose. So there's a few things like that is going to take a bit of time. So we'll pretty much be working through tonight, and yeah, hopefully have this thing on the dyno first thing in the morning. But the good thing is obviously all of those solutions have to be done one way or another. So we've got to do all that anyway. So we'll get it on the dyno, and then if it lifts ahead, motor in and out, hopefully, and still make it up there.
Yeah, it sounds simple, but like I said, with this thing, it's a bit of a process.
Yeah, it's funny just working on this thing now and doing this rebuild. Obviously, we know a lot more now than we did back then. A lot of progression over the last 4.5, 5 years since this was built. Yeah, so not only that, but also just being twin turbo and being in this chassis, it is just a pretty complicated thing. It's not like the Tonner where we can pull the engine out, Rex can pull the engine out on his own in an hour. This thing is a bit more of a process, there's a bit more to it.
It was like 3 hours the other night and it still wasn't ready to come out. I was like, are you kidding me?
So yeah, it sounds simple, but the other one being Gen 4 as well, like we have to extend the cam angle sensor wiring, we have to change the throttle body, like put a cable throttle body onto a rectangle port manifold and get that all sorted out, and map sensor changeover, and
which means the throttle bracket somehow.
Yeah, so there's a bit of
sensors.
There's a bit going on. We could probably just ditch the knock sensors, to be honest, for one weekend.
Just chuck the Plex on it.
Yeah, just put the Plex on it, and you can probably put the Plex on it and just leave it on for the weekend.
Yeah, actually.
So yeah, anyway, it'd just be a means to get us there, just so that all of this effort isn't for nothing. Is all it is. But hopefully the old 5.7 does us proud and keeps them heads down. Righto, boys and girls, just checking in. So it's now 11 PM Thursday night, and yeah, we're just slowly getting this together. So we talked about it, and we've got the DEFI Advanced ZD Copy gauge cluster thing in this car. Now, we don't really use the boost reference or the boost sensor on that DEFI thing because we've got the eBoost Street 40 in this car as well. So we've already got something that's going to tell us what boost is doing. And what we really need to see with this thing, as you guys know, is whether this cooling system's pressurizing, essentially, with these heads potentially lifting. So, sorry guys, my GoPro is just, I don't even know how I'm going to film King of the Strip this weekend. It gets cold, like it's really cold where we are, and obviously the batteries are not liking it, and brand new battery, 100%, and it'll just be like, meh, batteries, not enough battery, I'm turning off. So that's why these clips keep freaking starting and stopping. I'm sorry guys. So what we're going to do is, off of the steam port on the front of the engine here, we're actually going to tee that off and run a reference to the boost sensor, which we hope we'll be able to deal with liquids. It's obviously not going to be outside of the sensor's range or capacity to measure, and it's only water. It's not like it's a real chemical liquid or something like that. It's not like it's a real chemical thing. So hopefully the diaphragm is happy to deal with just water, and it will show us hopefully how much this cooling system is actually pressurizing, and we'll be able to see sort of what's going on. So that's the plan. Hopefully that works out for us. It's about all we can think of. It's obviously not ideal. It's not an ideal situation just putting it in the cooling system. It's obviously not ideal just putting it in the cooling system where it's not in like a header tank or somewhere where it's static, but we don't need little incremental, we're not, you know, analyzing data logs. We'd literally just need to know whether this thing's lifting ahead and pressurizing the shit out of the cooling system or not. And I feel like it's going to tell us that at the very least. So we're going to try and set that up. Anyway, guys, I do 100% apologize in advance because, yeah, legit with this issue with my cameras and the way the batteries are and the way things aren't lasting, I have no idea how the hell I'm even going to film this weekend at King of the Strip. I really don't know how I'm going to go filming this. I really need some better camera gear. I need to upgrade some camera gear. But I don't actually know what to do because I've used GoPros almost exclusively since we started, just about, except for a couple of cameras that I've got that I use every now and then. But I literally hate them with a passion. I freaking hate them. They just always buggy. They always do shit like this. They never work properly. It gives me the shits. So I don't know what to do. I don't know what camera to go with. I don't know where to go from here. It's frustrating as shit. Really, it is so frustrating. Anyway, worst case this weekend, if it comes to it, we've got the old iPhone, so it might end up just being an iPhone vlog for the weekend, which is not the end of the world. I don't mind doing iPhone vlogs, but it's definitely much easier on the GoPro with this wide field of view and everything else. Also much better audio with the GoPro the way it's set up, so it'd be nice if it just freaking worked. Imagine that, a GoPro that just worked. Righto guys, just about to get these turbos and manifolds back on. So Rex changed the drain fittings on both turbos, and we're making new turbo drains for both sides. So
This one, the new engine mount's got to be in the way of the old one, so it's got to get remade, and this one has always leaked, so remaking that as well to try and fix this issue.
Yep, different drains. So these is my homemade ones that I welded up, but they keep this one particular keeps leaking out of that gasket, so these are much nicer O-rings.
Yeah, so yeah.
Sweet.
Probably should have showed you before these went on, guys, but the Raceworks ones that you can buy from Raceworks, they're actually O-ringed, and they just freaking so awesome that you don't have to worry about a gasket or goo or anything like that. You just bolt them in, O-ring seals. Have never had one leak. They're freaking wicked. Back on. The only problem with the fact that if this thing does lift heads and we end up putting the 6 litre in this, we're definitely not going to want to take the 6 litre back out. 6 litre with these GDX 28s, gotta be skits. Tiny little baby turbo.
Yeah.
I just love how much of this car is just people telling us that it wouldn't work. People telling us that the diffs wouldn't survive.
That's the funniest.
People telling us that the diffs would just explode, that we'd rip out all the axle studs. People telling us that we couldn't run these turbos on a 5.7. Way too small, wouldn't work. Can't run turbos that small on a 5.7. You know, so many things that we were told just wouldn't work. And here we are, trying to run an 11-second pass in a 2.5 ton bread bus. All right, guys, that was short-lived. So, second from the back bolt on this manifold. Not doing up. Not getting tight, so. Yeah, me and Rex were just talking about it. We probably shouldn't have even touched this thing, to be honest. We should have just flogged it to death. Because it's, yeah, it's not inspiring confidence since spending all this time doing all this rebuild and stuff. But anyway, we do have helicoils that we can fix the head with at least to get that manifold sorted. So we'll pull that manifold back out. I'll helicoil that hole. We'll Rex sorts the other side and then get this back in. So we can fix that one. But yeah, as far as the head staying on, that's something we can't really fix. Hopefully it works out.
I did the others all did up, so
yeah,
that's the only one.
Just the one. Cool beans. Helicoils to the rescue.
That fit in there much nicer than it came out.
Oh, you flapping dog.
If you can get it on the other side of that.
Oh, actually, I reckon I'd be better off just going straight drill
through the rear, through the wheel well.
Jack it up.
Jack it up.
Yeah.
How high would we have to go? Or is it going to be easy to? Yeah, even if we jack the motor up, would you have enough drill bit before, like, because you're almost on the shaft there with the trigger? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, all right. Take that off.
The other option is measure this drill bit and cut one down.
Oh, probably easier just to take the shaft out.
Yeah, okay.
Bo's already marked it, so we'll just take that cover off, undo it, slide it out.
I might have to loosen the other end and let it slide up the shaft a bit. That's the only way it's going to come off that spline.
That's right.
Definitely moving. Alright guys, it's freaking cold. 8 degrees. Feels a lot colder. I'm freaking freezing. Anyway, it's getting there. Slowly, surely, it's getting there. Anyway guys, I think we've probably got enough for an episode. Probably already going to be
a really long episode as it is. So I'm going to leave you on this cliffhanger so that you have to tune in for the next episode to see whether these heads actually stay down or not. So hopefully we get it on the dyno in a couple of hours and find out if these heads are going to stay down or not and figure out how the rest of the day is going to go. So you have to tune in for the next episode to see that. So thanks for watching, guys. As always, smash like, smash subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out, see you, bye.